I mentioned before the break, the first time I came back from Japan, obviously I loved it. The food, the culture, the scenery, it was amazing. But I was absolutely fascinated by these little mini Japanese trucks. They were just, I'd never seen them before, and they're all over the streets of Tokyo and in rural Japan. And I said to my wife, I said, I need one of those Japanese mini trucks. So I came back here fully prepared to buy one, but there were a number of hurdles, including the legality of the trucks on the road, so I didn't do it. Fast forward to 2025, and maybe better news for Japanese mini truck lovers like me. Joining us live in studio is Stephen Lefkoff. Stephen, good morning. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me.
All right. So first of all, this is very selfish of me to have you come in, knowing my fascination with these Japanese mini trucks. I didn't know the backstory on their legality here in the state of Georgia, whether we could import them, whether we could sell them, whether we could drive them on the roads. Why couldn't I get one of those mini trucks easily 5 years ago?
Well, for a long time you could.
Okay.
And then a couple years ago, the Department of Revenue put a hold on all registrations of mini trucks. And in fact, they would remove or withdraw or cancel existing registrations. So you had people who had these mini trucks that all of a sudden couldn't drive them on the road. They were getting notices from the Department of Revenue. And that's what made things very, very difficult.
Why? What was the cause of that?
They said it was because of safety, that it wasn't, they didn't comply with the Clean Air Act or the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration,
okay.
and so they were canceling registrations. Interestingly, there was a conflict in the law that allowed them to do this, but for years it was not a problem. They didn't use that conflict, and then they started applying it to cancel these registrations.
And so that's where we stand right now. They are not legal to drive on Georgia roads?
As of this moment, that's true. However, a bill did just pass in the last week legislative session.
Sine die.
That's it. They are going to allow these trucks back on the roads. Now, there are some restrictions on the roads that they can be used on. It's only municipality and county roads, so not, Interstate 285.
So I can't take the mini truck. What about 80? I'm trying to think of my commute in the morning. If I do buy one, can I get on I-85? No, I got to take the back roads?
Yeah, ask the traffic folks for the back roads.
All right. So that's fantastic news. Now, obviously, the timing of you coming in and talking about this is perfect because we're in the middle of this trade war, right? The tariff situation. What's the situation if I do want to go purchase one of these Japanese mini trucks? Do I have to just get domestic inventory here? Can I get them shipped from Japan? Now that we have changed the rules here under the Gold Dome, what's the situation moving forward?
Well, the good news is since the majority of these mini trucks are over 25 years old, they have a smaller tariff. Now, we're still trying to parse through what is that amount and how that works. The federal government, these plans are millions of pages long.
Yeah.
So figuring it out exactly is hard work. But there's a general 25% tariff on vehicles from Japan, but that doesn't apply if the vehicle's older than 25 years old. And these mini trucks, for those that don't know, they're tiny, older,
They're the
efficient
greatest looking things.
Yeah, think
Love
about
'em.
like your florist at the farmer's market, right? They show up with those little trucks. They pull open the lid, and that's it. It's a cab has, the front has room for two people, and the bed is about 6 feet long.
And all right, so for full disclosure, Stephen Lefkoff joining us live in studio on the Mark Arum Show. What's your role in on this? How do you fit into this Japanese mini truck story?
So it's a great question. So I'm the founder of Lefkoff Law, a local law firm here in Sandy Springs, where thank you. I'll take a star of the show at the end. So we specialize in the representation of car companies. That's dealers, finance, repair, repo, auction, et cetera. And so this is in our wheelhouse. We've had a lot of clients call saying we have inventory of these things and we can't sell them. What do we do? And now that the legislation is changing and has been passed, now they actually can bring them in. They can sell them. The cost, unfortunately for you, Mark, not because of tariffs, but just because now you can drive them or will be able to once Governor Kemp signs the bill.
Yeah.
The cost will go up because now there's going to be that demand that there wasn't
Increased
over the last
demand.
couple years.
Well, then I'm going to erase this show. I don't want people to know how cool these. I want the demand to go down so I can get these. So, but again, when I first came back from Japan, I had to go like on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and I just didn't feel comfortable buying an automobile there. But there are in fact dealerships that will have these on the lot in the local area.
There are some. You kind of have to find enthusiast groups. I mean, believe it or not, I was on a Reddit group for they're K trucks in Japan. That's what they're called,
Yes.
KEI. And they have 34,000 members on a United States K-Truck group. There are people all over the country that are obsessed with these little things. And so it's easier to find enthusiasts like that to buy them from. But there are some dealers that specialize in international like that can find them.
Well, shout out those dealers, please, if you have any that you represent and want to or point. If not, then that's fine.
I can't. It's hard to pick and choose dealers over the other. I'll get in some trouble back.
But there are a number of
office.
Dealerships that would offer these.
There are.
And now that once Governor Kemp signs this bill, do you foresee them, even with the threat of tariffs and the cost of importation? Because that was another thing I looked at, to how much is it going to cost if I want to buy one in Japan, and it was exorbitant. Do you suspect that more dealers will start putting these in inventory, especially after I've given them so much publicity on the Mark Arum Show?
Yeah, of course. That's the reason. Yeah, I think so, because if you think about it, these are really cheap trucks. That's part of the draw. Is not just that they're tiny and small and efficient and they use less gas, et cetera, but they're also $5,000 to $10,000. So you have people who could use work trucks, handymen, that kind of stuff, but they can't afford the F-150 or the Chevy Silverado, the $40,000, $50,000 truck. So they can get one of these for $8,000 and now be able to drive it from job to job.
Now, literally, for folks that are unfamiliar with this, and I posted a picture of one on my social media pages, there are, at least the ones I saw in Japan, I mean, zero bells and whistles, right? There's no nav system. There's the ones I saw didn't have air conditioning. You might have an AM radio in there if you're lucky. I mean, these are not luxurious vehicles, right? This is not something you bring to the valet in front of Chops and give them the keys kind of vehicle.
No, I wouldn't do that. I mean, if you're paying $6,000 for a truck, you're getting a $6,000 truck.
But it literally warms my heart, because I've been dying to have one of these. And I come to work so early. That's fine. I can take the back roads in and enjoy it. So that's phenomenal news. So anything we need to look forward to after the governor signs the bill?
Well, it's House Bill 308. So for anyone that's tracking the bill, it's now ready for the governor's signature. Once it is signed, then a couple codes in Georgia, a couple of statutes will change to adjust for that and allow for what they call miniature on-road vehicles. That's what they're called in the Georgia code. And you could pull that up yourself. Any of your listeners can look up what the changes specifically to the law are. But
I just realized I should have asked a broader question. Aside with this House Bill 308, aside from the amazing Japanese mini trucks, are there other vehicles that are now will be legal under that law? I didn't want to just single out the Japanese mini trucks.
There is a definition under the law of miniature on-road vehicles.
Okay.
The vast majority we're talking about are mini trucks.
Okay.
There are some, I guess, weird others, one-off kind of things, but for your listeners, I would say the mini trucks are really.
All right. I didn't want to neglect anything if there was, a German minivan is now legal. I just wanted to make sure that I covered all my bases.
Got to be fair.
Yeah. All right. Stephen, fantastic news, buddy. I'm so excited. Tell the folks more about your law firm, where we can get in touch with you. And I want to find out where I can pick up one of these Japanese mini trucks after this.
Sure. So Lefkoff Law, like I said, we're up in Sandy Springs, just north of the city of Atlanta. We have a general business practice. We represent businesses all over the state with a focus in the car business. So like I said before, dealers, finance, repair, repo, auction, et cetera. If you have a business that touches the car space, we do general counsel representation for you. You can find us at www.lefkofflaw.com or 404-482-2228. And thanks for having me on, Mark.
Lefkoff, L-E-F, spell it for everybody.
Sure
L-E-F.
Lefkofflaw.com.
LAW.com. I wonder, I'm just thinking outside the box, Deborah, if we can get WSB Radio Promotions to maybe buy one of these Japanese mini trucks, throw the WSB logo on it, right?
Mark Arum Show mini truck?
Yeah, a little Mark Arum Show mini. Oh, we can write. Sanjay, can we write that off? Sanjay, if you're listening, hit me on the Piccadilly text line. It's my accountant, Sanjay, at brass.tax. He's doing my taxes right now. If I buy a mini truck for the show, maybe I can write it off.
Perfect use of your
money. There you go. All right. Stephen, thanks so much, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.